Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. On Wednesday, both Canadian and U.S. markets experienced significant gains, as reported by the Canadian press. Canada's main stock index climbed nearly 150 points, while major U.S. indices also surged, with the S&P 500 reaching a record high. This rise occurred despite increasing oil prices, which saw the June crude oil contract up 3.29 cents to $92.96 per barrel, and ongoing geopolitical uncertainty stemming from a war, described by investment advisor Alan Small as markets being in limbo. U.S. President Donald Trump's extension of a ceasefire while maintaining a blockade on Iranian ports contributed to the oil price dynamics. Companies in the S&P 500 generally outperformed analyst expectations for Q1 2026. Sector-wise, Canada's Basic Materials Index benefited from rising precious metal prices, with June gold up $33.40. Rogers Communications Inc. shares jumped over 13% after positive first-quarter earnings and a significant cut in capital spending. Additionally, cannabis stocks, including Tilray Brands Inc. and Canopy Growth Corp., saw notable increases amid reports of the Trump administration's plans to reclassify marijuana as a less dangerous drug. The Canadian dollar remained relatively stable against the U.S. dollar. A delegation of First Nation leaders from coastal British Columbia has traveled to Calgary to actively dissuade oil executives from investing in a proposed crude oil pipeline to the province's northwest coast, according to CTV News. Leaders from the Haida, Kitasoo, Gitga'at, and Heiltsuk nations, representing 6 North Coast communities, met with senior executives from companies like Pembina Pipeline Corp. And Trans Mountain Corp. They delivered a joint letter clearly stating their steadfast opposition to any such project. The letter highlights significant legal and financial risks associated with backing a crude oil pipeline and tanker project that lacks the consent of Aboriginal title holders. The First Nation leaders emphasize their responsibility to protect their ancestral territories and the fragile coastal economy, which they fear would be devastated by any potential oil spill. Despite a memorandum of understanding between the Alberta and Canadian governments supporting a new bitumen pipeline, Heiltsuk Chief Councillor Marilyn Slett noted that no private sector company has yet publicly come forward to support the proposal. Ottawa. According to the Canadian press, Liberal House Leader Stephen MacKinnon has rejected a call from the Conservatives to maintain opposition control over 3 crucial House committees. With the Liberal government recently securing a majority in Parliament through by-election victories and floor crossings, MacKinnon announced plans to introduce a motion that would alter House rules, giving the Liberals a majority on all committees. He emphasized that this move is essential to advance Prime Minister Mark Carney's ambitious economic agenda and prevent what he termed silly partisan games. Conservative House Leader Andrew Scheer criticized the Liberals for stacking the decks, arguing that opposition control over site committees, dealing with accounting, operations, and ethics, is vital for holding the government accountable for potential scandals and ethical breaches. Scheer stated his party would propose an amendment to MacKinnon's motion to preserve this opposition control. However, MacKinnon dismissed the idea of committee tiers, asserting that a party with a House majority should have a committee majority across the board. Bloc Québécois leader Yves-François Blanchet also expressed concern, calling the Liberal action quite revealing of their partisan interests, as his party's influence would significantly diminish. Global News reports that the Court of Appeal for Ontario has dismissed appeals by Brady Robertson, who sought to overturn both his conviction and sentence for a 2020 fatal crash. Robertson was found guilty of dangerous and impaired driving, causing the deaths of teacher Carolina Tiasulo and her 3 daughters in Brampton, Ontario, after consuming cannabis. He had argued that Canada's law setting a legal limit for THC blood concentration while driving was unconstitutional, and that his 17-year sentence was unduly harsh compared to other cases. However, Chief Justice Michael Tulloch ruled that the THC limit is constitutional, being neither arbitrary nor overbroad. He also found Robertson's sentence, which was reduced to 14 years and 2 months with time served, to be justified, citing his profound disregard for public safety and a pattern of dangerous driving, including a separate crash 2 days earlier. The court acknowledged Robertson's difficult life, but concluded the aggravating. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.